discuss Manu Smriti today. Okay. Amaya. Saturday we shall discuss Manu Smriti. 11:30 it is. Okay. Due to some reason I got delayed. So some other points I discuss, not the regular topic. The regular topic also will come, but in between some doubts have been raised. I shall discuss one or two points, then we will say, okay. One regarding the untouchables, that is Antyaja we call in Shastriya Bhasha, Chandala or Antyaja. So first thing is there is no fifth Varna. More we will discuss later, but generally Manu Smriti is burnt by some people, and then one person belonging to the same Antyaja caste. Caste is a word I am using in our Indian sense. Though it is a European word, it may have a different connotation, but I am using it in our Varna sense. That's all, in our caste, in our Jati. In our Jati sense. So Manu Smriti was burnt. So the problem is with our people is, first thing is our education system has been totally blocking out all our Shastras and our Indian thinking. Where they present a few places, they present them negatively. So it was the Christian missionaries of British period who presented, because their goal was, this you remember, this is very important. Whatever we are getting about Hinduism, our Shastras, our Smriti, our Varna Vyavastha, our rituals, our temples, anything, all our practices, everything is presented by Christian missionaries negatively. And their goal is to attack, demonize, present negatively so that they can destroy it and Christianize it. They're straight away, their goal is to Christianize, I tell you. However you try to hide, however you try to be sweet, I won't accept. They want to Christianize and destroy everything, because it is nothing new. They have been destroying many cultures, civilizations all over the world, these both the religions. And third one is communism. Because communism is nothing but it is a Christian heresy. People have told intellectuals, European, they have studied well. They told communism is nothing but a Christian heresy or Islamic heresy. Either way you can take it. So somebody told communism is, is nothing but Islam minus Allah. If you take out Allah, all Islam is same as communism. Okay? Communism minus Allah. I mean, Islam minus Allah is communism. Communism is just a copy of Islam, except Allah. Everything is same. Anyway, so these three ideologies, two religious, Islam, Christianity, and then communism, which is a claims to be a political ideology. I mean, claims to be an economic ideology, but it is more than economic, it is a destructive ideology. That much we can say. It is an inhuman and destructive ideology. Though they talk of all nice, high-sounding words, if you just simply, more we will discuss later. Okay, so these things, these Christian missionaries wanted to destroy, and then they wrote some books. During period, those things were part of our education system, Macaulay's education system. After they left, our government, Indian government of Nehru, retained all that Christian missionary outlook. In fact, they have incorporated some of them in our constitution. One strange point is, our constitution writers, including B.N. Rao, the main writer of constitution was B.N. Rao, not Ambedkar. That is a lie. Politicians propagated just for the sake of it. Is a biggest lie in Indian history. There are many lies. This is also one of them. That Ambedkar wrote constitution is a biggest lie. Anyway, so it's a B.N. Rao and many others. B.N. Rao, they visited all countries all over the world. They studied many constitutions of the world. They borrowed many points from all other constitutions, retaining mainly the British Constitution. The British Constitution retained and few others were added from the other constitution. But unfortunately, they never looked at Indian system of law, Indian Dharma Shastras, Indian social system, our Dharma principle, nobody bothered because they were all British educated. So their gurus were all Britishers alone. So there was no single person who was well based upon our Indian Shastras. One who was well based upon Indian Shastras were none. Therefore, they drafted such a constitution. Okay. So I touched all this background. It may look that I am unnecessarily talking politics. See, I touched all these details because we have been kept away from our Shastras, including Manu Smriti, and moreover taught negatively about our Shastras. Okay. Therefore, there is no chance to know positively what is right. In fact, at least they could have written one book, got it written. Our traditional people also should have got it written. But even now there is no single book which gives you a right presentation of Manu Smriti to the moderners. There is no single book which presents Manu Smriti in a proper way, right way, which moderner can understand. Anyway, so in these things, one or two doubts raised, they will come at their own time more elaborately, but briefly I want to answer and proceed with our topic. One is about untouchables, Antyajas. So these Ambedkar and his followers burnt Manu Smriti. And then people were sensationalized, shocked. What is this happened? People thought, is it so bad? First thing is nobody read what is it there. So I just compiled here some of the shlokas I tell you. This is the thing I just show you. I just listed the shlokas. I have to compile the shlokas also. One is regarding the Shudra. Regarding the Shudras, what are all the shlokas which refer to Shudras and talk the dharmas of them? Mainly Manu Smriti is for Brahmanas. A few dharmas talked about Kshatriyas. And regarding Vaishya and Shudra, not much. Why not much? Because this also is a big topic we'll discuss later, but to answer these questions, I have to touch a few points and answer and proceed with our topic. So it did not touch much about Shudra Dharma and Antyaja Chandala Dharma. It did not discuss much details because, one reason I tell you, there are two things. One is a Samanya Dharma, another is Vishesha Dharma. Samanya Dharma is the values and certain disciplines and all these things are common to all. So therefore, while discussing the dharmas of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, he discussed all the values. So all the values, good qualities, discipline, like Satyam, Ahimsa, speaking truth, following your dharma honestly, don't cheat others, help others, all these things are common dharma called Samanya Dharma. They are covered here and they are applicable to Shudras and Chandalas also. Therefore, taking the name of Shudras and Chandalas, these dharmas are not mentioned because they are Samanya Dharma. So moderners don't understand this because their way of reading is totally different. Because we are exposed to your Western education system. So we don't know how to study Manu Smriti also. Even if you study, even if it is translated and study, you are like, you means I'm talking in general about our modern people. Some of you, those who have got a good traditional background, will be able to understand. But they also might miss some of them, misunderstand some of them, unless without a guru's help. Okay, so we just don't know. If they read directly, they are likely to misunderstand. So here Shudra dharmas are a few shlokas are there. Antyaja dharmas are a very few. Okay. So in these things, why such a few? Then how to understand them? In fact, I intend to write a book that Shudra Dharma in Manu Smriti and Antyaja Dharma in Smritis, in our Shastras. That I shall write at least 1 or 2 essays. I think it's a big means a question of time. All these things are in my mind. It's a question of time. So anyway. So here, when I referred all the Shudra Dharmas, I compiled numbers, I noted down. I shall compile and then describe them. Third point is Stri Dharmas. Because they talk negatively, that Manu talked negatively. All Stri Dharmas, I think complete one page of Stri Dharmas, whatever and in different contexts, regarding the dharmas of Stri woman, Manu talked about. All those shlokas, I put them in one place. Okay. Now regarding the Chandala dharma, few points I'll say, and then, so they are only hardly 20 shlokas. I think around 20. Regarding Antyaja dharma Chandala, discussing Chandalas, regarding Chandala, there are only 20 shlokas. In these things, what is discussed, what enraged Ambedkar particularly, so that he has to burn Manu Smriti. See, these people are sensational people. They were more educated, trained and used by Christian missionaries and Britishers to divide people and go against Hinduism. So Ambedkar was a pawn in the hands of Britishers, willing pawn, not simple unintentional, innocent pawn. Is not innocent pawn, he was a willing pawn, and in fact he himself sided with Britishers and missionaries. And what all he did, he wrote against Manu Smriti, many are lies, many are misrepresentations. So he was using, he wanted to destroy Hinduism. He openly told he wants to destroy, and he told Hinduism should be banned. Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas and all Hindu Shastras should be banned. So that's what Ambedkar wrote. So it is, all these things, it's a big topic we won't discuss. But here relevant point is, so when he burnt it, and somebody told he did not burn the entire Manu Smriti, only 2 chapters of 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th talks of, what is that, Sankara Jati. That means various varnas, intermixed marriages, children born of mixed marriages, mixed caste, intercaste marriages, and their professions. What professions they should adopt, Manu discusses in 10th and 11th. Therefore, they say that he burnt only 10th and 11th chapters of Manu Smriti, he did not burn. When Ambedkar was asked, why did you burn? He says, we had to, but don't you know that Manu himself was a great sociologist? Sociology means Dharma Shastrajna, and he wrote many good points. And he says, yes, I don't deny that. Manu was a great Dharma Shastrajna, sociology, he studied well. He wrote dharmas very nicely. In those days, 2000 of years ago, where there was no such Dharma Shastra anywhere, there was some Old Testament, but compared to Old Testament, it contained many beautiful dharmas. So, I don't deny that. Then why did you burn Manu Smriti? Because we wanted to use that symbol to show our protest. See what is told. Just to express their protest, to use Manu. He openly told. That means, what is your objection there? They say that Manu made us untouchables. Okay, Manu made us untouchables, and then untouchables are oppressed. 2 things. First thing is, Ambedkar himself says, Varna Vyavastha means Hindu society being divided into many jatis itself was not created by Manu. Openly he himself says. Because if Manu as a single person, or Brahmana as a one group of people, If all Brahmanas put together created Varna Vyavastha, caste system, I mean Jati system, then there would have been only two Jatis, Brahmana and Abrahmana. There would have been only two. Then this many would not have come. Even within the untouchables, there are many castes within the untouchables. Do you know that? Some of them don't some of them, all of them don't marry one caste, do not marry others. They don't even sometimes don't eat their food. They don't marry. Do you know that? Within the untouchables, there are many castes, they don't intermarry. The only Ambedkar wanted forcibly to marry Brahmanas alone. But why don't they marry in between? So anyway, that's a complicated topic we shall discuss later. Later means in the context. It will come sometimes in 10th or 11th chapter. It will take a long time. So therefore, instead of waiting for a long time, I am just touching certain important points now. So why didn't you make it? He says, we want to protest, therefore we just took Manu. That means we targeted Manu to express our protest, though what we said doesn't apply to Manu. See what they say. His protest doesn't apply to Manu as a single person, yet we targeted him because we need some symbol. So use symbol. Supposing you want to target somebody and use one person and then put him, blame him and then do it. It is something like call, in English there is a proverb, call a dog mad and kill it. In order to kill it, you have to brand it, you have to demonize it as a mad dog. Once it is a mad dog, then it is easy for you to kill it. And nobody will object, and even if they object, you have a ready-made reply. Similarly, you just brand him. Okay? That is the thing. So in these things in Chandalas, Dharma, he talks of one thing is, as I told you before, it is not a political social reason. The caste, I mean the division into castes, division into jatis is not due to political reason or social reason. It is a purely karma, purva janma karma. It looks very unbelievable for modern people. Taking karma and ritual purity. Karma and ritual purity. This is simple thing. You think that, my God, simple karma and ritual purity makes it so much? Because people were religious people. Even now, if you go by religion, and it becomes an important. And even Brahmanas live with untouchability at their home. You look at any Brahmana family, right from childhood we are born. Everywhere, as a children, when we were playing, we touched that thing and these things, unknowingly they would scold us. Oh, you touched these things, they take away and wash everything with water. That has become maile. That has become, muddy is lost. That means the shuchi is gone, it has become ashuchi. Ashuchi means maila. So in Sanskrit, our Shastriya term for muddy mailige, in Kannada muddy mailige, I think muddy maila is a word in Telugu, Tamil and all Indian, South Indian languages. Muddy maile means shuchi, ashuchi in Sanskrit. Marathi is slightly a different word. There sombla they call it. Sombla is muddy and then mailige. In Hindi shuchi, that's all they call it, shuchi. The shuchi is a common word. In Sanskrit word they use it. The shuchi. So it is there, everywhere there. So therefore at home when we touch it naturally, you are not supposed to touch. Children, we will learn then, right from child. Then children are told, anything you ask before you touch. Anything big or small. Then we learned that before we touch anything, Amma, can I touch this? Can I touch this? Everything we ask, keep on asking and touching. That's how we are brought up. So this kind of a purity, a concept of ritual purity. Ritual purity means Shastrokta Shuchi. Shastrokta Shuchi. This is a discipline and we have been following it. So they make it a big issue of it. I don't understand. That's because of Western Christian missionaries' provocation. They created a terrible hatred. They demonized it, that this is something an inhuman. But in fact, this kind of untouchability, in fact, it is a political untouchability. Economic untouchability existed all over the world, even until recently, even in England and Europe also, it existed. But it is a political economy, not ritual. In fact, political economic is more dangerous than ritual purity. Okay, ritual purity involves no hatred for others, no disrespecting others. It means my personal discipline, that's all. Okay, so one thing he talks of Chandala is due to Purvajanma Papa. Even Brahmana can become born as a Chandala. Chandalas were in Purvajanma might be Brahmanas. If he has fallen from Brahmanatma, he may get Chandala Janma. So, see the principle of karma. If you have done a severe papa of killing somebody, you will become Chandala. Because that's a severe papa. If you murder or rape and do some such things, is a Mahapapa, then naturally one becomes a Chandala. So, the idea is you have to live out the Chandala life, and karma is exhausted, and then you will become purer and next Janma. So, this is the principle of karma. One is Chandala Janma is due to past karma. This is one thing touched. Second, he touched their profession. They should not be other caste. See, other caste also particularly, there is a grade and untouchability. Untouchable doesn't mean all other castes. Do not touch them equally. For a Shudra, Chandala is not untouchable. Untouchable only for Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. For Brahmana, he is all the time untouchable. Because he is all the time is in ritual purity and in rituals, etc. So all the time is untouchable. For Kshatriya, while practicing his rituals, untouchable. Okay, for Kshatriya and Vaishya. After his rituals are over, in dealing with worldly matter, it's not much important. But for Shudra, he is not untouchable except while taking food. Shudras, I have seen personally too, while taking food alone, they keep at a distance. They'll sit there and they'll sit here, that's all. They'll just sit at a distance. They sit here and sit here, that's all they eat. Except this thing, once eating food is over, that's all. They play, they work with them together, touch them and everything. So in Shudra and Chandala, untouchability is not there. But you see them all, many caste, how many caste of professional castes? How many professional castes, how many people are there? Among them, there is no untouchability. That means they don't treat Antyajas are as untouchable. For all Shudras, they are not untouchable at all. So they create an issue that whole society is making them untouchable. Whole society doesn't treat them untouchable. For Shudras, how many castes are there? Shudra Varnas, Shudra Jatis, you see them. For them, it is not they are not untouchables at all. Only at the time of food, they keep a distance, that's all. They eat separately. After touching, they won't even wash their hands. They don't even, while taking food, immediately, once food is over, drink water and go and touch with them. That's all. It's just as simple as this. So, that's why you live as an untouchable, you don't feel so much. They are creating all these things. Because they have to create hatred. They have to create, Britishers have to create hatred, and Ambedkar also has to create. So, they have done this thing. So, here he says, one is Janma. Second is untouchability only for Brahmanas, full-time untouchables. Okay? If Brahmana touches, what is the punishment for Chandala? There is no punishment for him. Brahmana himself will take bath, that's all. He will take bath, but there is no punishment for him. He only told that, you see, his discipline, his purity will be disturbed. Why do you do? Out of respect for them, they keep a distance, that's all. There is no punishment generally. Okay, so in these things, only the Janma is talked about and their professions talked about. Manu's time, the professions he talks about, one is hanging giving the capital punishment. A person who is judged to be hanged, only this hanging job they will do, one thing. Second, they will sell among them the katukas. Katukas means the slaughterers. Animal slaughter, they kill the animals and then sell the mamsa. In these things I tell you, if in those days regarding the mamsa I tell you, even if Even if a Chandala cuts the mamsa and brings the mamsa, even Brahmana can take. Mamsa is untouchable even from Chandala's house. Okay? Even a Chandala comes and lives there, it is not untouchable. You see what Manu's days, what it was. Mamsa was not untouchable. So regarding the Mamsa food, non-vegetarian food is also a big controversy. That comes in the 5th chapter regarding the food. There are many rules regarding the food. Then about Mamsahara also we shall discuss. How, why and all. It's a very complicated topic. We'll discuss that. So therefore, the second thing is this thing. Third thing is a dead body, if some unclaimed dead body, orphan dead body, that means we don't know which caste he belongs to. Unclaimed dead body, he is permitted to come and take the dead body. Only these 3 professions were talked about. Chandala's 3 professions. One is take the unclaimed dead body. Second is killing the person who is hanging the person who is given a capital punishment. Okay. And then killing certain animals and then selling the mamsa. Only 3 professions it talks of them. I think remember 3 only. I prepared, I should have noted down. I just compiled the shlokas. That's all. That's all. There is no drainage cleaning and all that in the system. There is not there at all. And they say they are untouchable because they were doing dirty job. Where is this? Where is this reason that they were doing dirty? There is no question of dirty jobs is not there at all. Only 3 professions he talks of them. This much he told they should live. The place to live is they live at the edge of the village. The end of the village they live. So there was a lot of natural resources like forest and rivers were there. Forest, rivers, in another thing is, regarding the rivers and tanks, no prohibition. Everybody can freely go and use the rivers and tanks. Okay? This also Ambedkar made a big issue. It is also a false thing. Our Dharma Shastras never say, and even our customs also, it is never there. Taking bath in rivers and tanks or using the water. So in those days there used to be tanks and rivers all over. Okay? Tanks, rivers, brooks, because Indian culture depends on water. Therefore, villages were built, most of them on the banks of rivers and brooks and tanks, only rivers and lakes. Nearby water alone, we built our villages. Therefore, water was plenty and openly available for all. So that was not denied at all. So the profession was this. And they can use among the animals, because animals also everybody has to use. So cows and other animals for agriculture used, so agriculturists use them. So only donkey is not useful for agriculture, therefore donkey was permitted freely for Antyajas to use. So they can carry, they can themselves ride the donkeys, and they can carry whatever cart they can carry, or whatever they can use the donkeys. Okay, so this is what he told and nothing else. Okay, and within this 20 shlokas there is nothing much discussed. Another thing is regarding the food. At night he should not roam about in the village. Night he should not roam about in the village because that's a risky, and then why should he come? There is no point in coming in the night. Okay, but food, you go to anybody's house at the time of the food, he will be given. Even Chandala should not be denied, because these days they say they go hungry, they have no. I tell you, food was very free and easily available in those days. Food was available because food should not be sold. Until recently, selling the food was prohibited. In fact, giving food freely is a great punya. All caste would give food freely, particularly Brahmanas and others would give freely food to all caste, whoever comes. Whoever comes at the time of lunch, he would never be denied. In fact, happily given. Atiti Satkara, happily given. So the Chandala can come that time and take food and go. In fact, there were plenty of dharmashalas, food distribution centers. Getting a food was not at all a problem in those days. Okay? Getting food was not at all a problem. And he was free to live. That's all. Except this, there is nothing about Chandala. More about Chandala we will discuss in that 10th and 11th chapter when it comes. Now, what is the point in demonizing them, demonizing Manu, that he talked negatively about thing, and that what you call drainage cleaning. First thing is, there was no drainages at all. There was no drainages at all. Toilets systems in those days never there. Then where is the question of cleaning them and all? Their jobs were only 2 or 3. He mentioned just this. And they would roam from place to place. Now, in the other Smritis, other than Manu, later Smritis like Yajnavalkya and other Smritis, when they were traveling from place to place, because first thing is, there was a plenty of natural beauty, forest and rivers, water and forest product. Forest product means fruits and certain grains. Number of fruits and forest grains were plentifully available in those days. Plenty of forest. In fact, forest grains, do you know? Forest produces certain rice, certain, not only rice, certain pulses, unsowed. You don't have to sow them. Forest, natural. Even I myself have seen. I don't know what you call in Kannada, one kind of a hasiru. Hasiru andre bekku hasiru, in Telugu we call it pilli vesara. Those pulses grow on their own in the forest. Plenty you can get them. And then certain rice also grow. Certain rice grows in the forest. Nobody sows them. They go on their own. Certain potatoes also, certain forest potatoes, wild potatoes we call them. If you know them, they grow on their own. Nobody grows them. You can dig and eat them. So forest food was plentifully available. Fruits and bulbs, gedde ganusu we call in Kannada, plenty available for eating. So the food, nobody went hungry. In those days, nobody would go hungry, nobody would die of hunger. Because food itself was freely available, no hotels were required. When food is freely available, where is the question of hotels? Okay? So that they are suffering and all these things, this is nothing but a demonization of Christian missionaries. Our people continued it. Okay? All this is meaningless. So later days, after Manu days, when they were settled down in one village, in some place, they started stable saying, they started adopting other professions. No, they were given a lot of profession. Bamboos, they make the bamboo baskets and all that. And they adopt many other professions. Many other professions are given. One is music. Openly they say the music for all, band, etc. Band music they play for all function. See, music gives you very good culture. They learn music. It gives you culture. Not only that, even the veterinary science, treating the animals, cows and etc. Even now I can say in the village, most of the veterinary doctors are only Harijans, I mean this Chandala caste alone. That means they know a lot of medicines. They know a lot of medicine to treat themselves and also treat the animals. Many diseases they teach. So therefore, medicine was available to them. Music was available to them. Music and art. In fact, in later days, if I think I compile all of them from my various Smritis, Vasishta Smriti, and many other Smritis are there. I shall compile from all other Smritis. In the later days, how as the after Manu days, post Manu days, how the Smritis have been including many other professions. And the professions are such that they get plenty of money. And they were the patrolling police of the villages. They do many other professions. Okay. Therefore, in the village, they were occupying very important supporting system. They were occupying very supporting base. They were supporting base of the village. Therefore, the people who are occupying such jobs, where the very running of the village rests on their shoulder, how can you say that they are ill-treated? Because they have got a direct access to the head of the village. Because he is directly accessed with the head of the village. and head of the village discusses many points with them regarding the village policies and how to do, they discuss with them, because they are the main people involved in it. And they say how they were ill-treated and untouchable. All this is created artificially by the Christian missionaries, and our Ambedkarists have repeated them. And nobody is bothering to read the books and see the living tradition. Even now some of the villages it is continuing. Some of the modern villages have gone, modernized villages. Okay, so therefore this I just wanted to say, and the more we'll discuss later. Then coming to the another point, in my Facebook somebody asked one more question about pouring the what you call molten lead, sesame we call in Sanskrit and in Telugu, probably in Kannada too. Sesame is a molten lead, LED, lead is a metal. So molten lead in the ears, in Shudra, if you listen to Veda mantras, listen and recite the Veda mantras consciously. So now this is thing they say, oh, Manu said it. First thing I say, Manu did not say. Somebody asked in Facebook long before. So writing takes time, so I'm just explaining now. I think I'll put it in my book on Manu. Some of the ideas I'm jotting down on a paper. So I may not write a big book, but just a brief points I write down on Manu. Manu Smriti and Dharma Shastras. Regarding this, I shall explain point now. So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, these people are supposed to study Veda, and then Shudras are not supposed to study. For this, there are many technical reasons. It's a very big topic. So, the lot of technical ritual reasons. They are all ritualistic reasons, not social reasons. Okay. Now, these people generalize that Veda they should study, no, they should not study. From this, they generalize it that no education they should have. See how they enroll. Veda means knowledge. Knowledge means they should not be taught any knowledge. They generalize like this. This is a ridiculous thing. Veda doesn't mean all knowledge. Veda means a ritual knowledge alone. Okay, that too, study of Veda mantras they were talking. See, Veda have to be protected. It is not a written book. In those days, these Shastras were not written. They have to be learnt from Guru and memorized, and then recite them in a particular way, something like a music. A song has to be sung in a tune. So Veda mantras have got a swaras. Swara means there is a up and down, something like in music, there are certain swaras, certain tune. Okay, so that tune, so they have to study and repeat it as a prayer. It is a duty for them, and to protect the Veda mantras. So just to protect the Veda mantras is a duty of Brahmana, therefore it is given to them. See, certain jobs have to be given, because just repeating Veda mantras alone, a person has to repeat Veda mantras because Brahmanas were given that job, because not only it is given to them to protect the Vedas, those Veda mantras are useful in rituals also. Therefore, they will use them, and also it is his duty to every day recite the Veda. So, for sake of that, he should not do any other job. Then what about survival? He should beg and take the food, and then others give him donation, and he live on the donation. So, if it is given to all, I tell you, many things are lost. People only if it is economically beneficial learn them, otherwise they give up. Many things are lost like that. When Brahmanas are leaving out Veda, they are getting lost. Many Vedas are lost. Many Veda Shakhas are lost because when they are not paying, when people are going for other professions, they are lost. Many Shastras are lost like this alone. Therefore, in those days, all these Shastras were protected. Certain families were given the job. So it is your job to daily repeat it. It is your job. Memorize it, repeat it, give it to your next generation or your next Shishya, and he will continue. This should continue. That is his job. So, why would others Shudra learn? If Shudra starts learning and spending time in it, then his profession will be neglected, because he would not be able to devote time for all this thing. His profession will be neglected. Then if a few people run towards one profession, what is a paying profession alone? If you see, anybody can take any profession. Suppose you make a rule like modern days. Anybody can go for any profession. what is a paying profession alone, more people will be there in paying profession, and less paying profession, nobody would go. Ultimately, the profession will disappear. In those days, every profession has to be practiced manually. A civilization requires all professions. Indian civilization, see, we are not depending upon like Muslim, like a Islamic society, Christian society. We invade the countries and get, like Britishers invaded India. Many countries keep them, South Africa, Africa, India, and many countries keep under colonization and extract money and live comfortably. Okay, but India never believed in colonizing others and live. All our prosperity of India came from our own hard work, not by invading, not by robbing other countries, other societies. So we lived by ourselves. Therefore, we divided into different professions, and those families are given. So training those families is easy because right from childhood he learns it from his father. Nowadays, if your father is not practicing that, you go to people, how much money you have to spend it. You go to the school, every year you have to spend 1 lakh to go to school. Supposing you learn all that from your father, you don't have to spend freely, you will get the knowledge. Nowadays, to get some knowledge, how much you have to spend? Lakhs and lakhs. It has become business now. How many lakhs can you spend? For education to pass 10th class, I think you may need so many lakhs of rupees. I passed each year for 15 rupees. Each class for 15 rupees alone. 10th class also I paid 15 rupees for the entire 10th class period. Okay, so it was easy and cheap. In fact, if I had gone to our traditional guru, probably I didn't have to pay. He would give me food and clothes and teach me if I went to the traditional gurukulas. Later I went to ashrams and learned, that's different. In fact, I love to do that. I searched for it. I didn't get it. They were away. In my village, there was no Gurukula, so I didn't have opportunity. Otherwise, I would have gone to Gurukula and learned all those things. Then I would not have learned English. I would not be able to speak English then. Okay. So it was a profession. So every duty is a ritual duty. Okay, every profession, whichever profession you take, people would do them. You talk to your business, you look at the businessman, you look at any profession, he takes his profession as a great sacredness. Okay, any profession you take it, he takes it as with sacredness. Any barber, any washerman, or any carpenter, first day when he wakes up and takes bath and does everything, he takes food and touches his instruments to start cutting and all that. First he will do namaskara to his utensils, I mean to his instruments, and start working. They take their profession like a ritual, like a yajna. Therefore, Veda mantra studying is a yajna, is a ritual for Brahmana, and for Shudra it is his own profession. Therefore, he should, generally they understand everybody would stick to their profession, don't go for other profession, it was understood. But there were very few people instigated by some atheist, and they would say that why not we study Veda, we want to study forcibly. They want to impose. So keeping such people, certain rules were given. Openly it was written that no, don't study. If you should not study, you will go to hell. Okay. In this thing, because you give up your profession, because profession is not your personal alone. These days they say, I like the profession and I follow. See, profession is not personal alone. It is to be social also. Otherwise, whatever is paying profession, everybody wants to go to that profession. All other professions will be without any people. Some jobs will have over members. Some jobs will have over candidates, and some jobs will be candidate less. There won't be single candidate for other jobs. Then society would not run. Okay. Therefore, so if Shudras have to, it is your job, and don't learn Veda mantras, because learning Veda mantras alone, not all education, any education he can learn. He can learn whatever he needs in mathematics, etc. All those things he can learn, anybody can learn. And there have been our education system, early British period, during East India Company, they have surveyed it. They found that there were plenty of schools. Every village had schools. All castes were studying, including Harijans were going to schools and learning. Even Harijans were teachers there. Only Vedas were kept with Brahmanas. All other subjects were available for all people. Then why create all this mess up? This is a demonization of Christian missionaries. And our people repeat it. Therefore, education is denied is nonsense. Even if schools were opened, I tell you, in my childhood days, other caste people like Antyajas, etc., they would not come to school. Even barber and washerman and agriculturists, they would not come to school. Even if they come, they just wanted to learn reading and writing. Second, third maximum. Fourth or fifth standard, they would third standard, they would stop. They say reading and writing is there enough. Why do we need all that? Why do we need? We know how to read and write and do some counts, some mathematics, and that is enough. Why do we need that? And they would say, what would you do by reading all that book? What will you do? You do your learn agriculture. Their parents themselves will take away. Let the fellow learn agriculture and will become a better man, and he will become useful person to life. What will you do with all that? They would take away. Even if the schools were open for all, they would not come. Because there was no fascination for education. Now the education is becoming more as a business now. You learn and become big officer and money. First thing is how many jobs you have. How many government jobs all over the country you have. Is it possible to give government jobs to all people in the country? I think if countable few lakhs, I think maybe few lakhs. Even some of the modern educated man, one intellectual, I think he was one IAS officer was telling, this job reservation, government giving jobs, government promising that we will give this many jobs, we will produce 10 lakhs of jobs, we will produce jobs. All this promising is an election gimmick. All this is nonsense. No government can give government jobs to all people. All this is nonsense. These are election gimmicks. They are creating problem. Who says that? This is what a retired IAS officer says. Retired IAS officer says that these are all politicians are creating. Let them follow their own professions. The professions useful to people, society. Everybody can't get it. Okay. It is the Britishers who created these jobs, and out of them, some of them, those who are already Brahmanas were involved in this education. So those castes who were involved in education, they immediately joined those government jobs. Now that those who have joined British jobs were considered as a forward by Britishers, they themselves considered. Then other castes, those who are already having professionals, artisans and other professions, handicrafts, artisans and handicrafts, so they were doing, and they did not join education. The Britishers branded them as backward, and these people forward. Okay, and our people say that now they say they also should take up government jobs and then become big officers and make a lot of money and all that. In fact, many people did not join. You study and become a clerk, I say you will become a servant of somebody else. They would say, you become independent and learn your agriculture and do it. Why do you want to become servant of somebody? They would say in those days, in villages in my childhood, they would say, you learn so much and become a clerk as a servant of somebody else. We don't want all these government jobs. We will be independently, work hard, and then help the society and live comfortably like king. They would say, now the agriculture is made as a slavish profession. The government policies are such now that an agriculturist is suffering. In those days, agriculturist was a king. Agriculturist and professions like carpentry and blacksmith and other professions living on agriculture, they were all independently living. They were industries, cottage industries. They would produce and sell and make money and live. They would even donate to others. They would feed Brahmanas with their money. They were rich. They had their own money. And now they are made barbers. They are made beggars. They are made beggars. They are made very poor people. Because who created it? It is the British system created. So, Britishers created laws, branded these untouchable castes as some kind of criminals. And since they were branded as criminals, then the untouchability has taken to a negative turn. There was untouchability, was a ritual purity, and first thing is Shudras were not treating them as untouchable, only Brahmanas. Brahmanas, how many are there? Villages, few families. All other Shudras were mixing easily. It was not untouchable at all. It is the British system created untouchability, demonized untouchability. They made them criminal costs. Untouchable costs were criminal cost. Who? It is the Britishers. They made a law. In fact, it was a law, enacted law. Treat them as criminals. And because of that law, all this happened. Britishers was ill-treating them, taking free work from them and don't give them money. Indian system never took free work from them and never paid. It never did like that. We paid, and therefore they lived comfortably. They had money. They were the basis supporting system. They were the supporting base for the village. Okay. And the negative presentation is created by the very Britishers, provoked them to go against other castes, so that ultimately divide Hindu society, so that we can remain permanent rulers. They told, without India we can't live. Without enslaving India we can't live. We live on the slavery of India. Britishers told. Christian missionary told, without converting India, in Europe Christianity is getting destroyed. In America also Christianity is getting destroyed. So we have to survive. Therefore Asia is our only source. Now they have to create. Okay. Now, okay. Regarding that, pouring lead into the ears of this thing, I tell you, regarding these harsh punishments regarding these things, 1 or 2 points I have to say. One is, this is Arthavada. Arthavada means little exaggerated praise. Just to create a fear, it's an exaggerated condemnation. Exaggerated praise, exaggerated condemnation. Means Atishayokti it is. Such things were there in this thing. I tell you one thing, there was one shloka. One Sanskrit Pandit, I don't remember the shloka now. One Sanskrit Pandit told me, if you drink any liquid like payasam, milk, or coffee was not there in those days. So milk, buttermilk, milk, or payasam and any such thing in a lota, in a vessel, don't drink until the last drop. Drink and leave out a last few drops, and don't drink completely. This is the shloka. The shloka mentions, I don't remember the shloka. Don't drink that liquid, any liquid, payasam or anything, until the last drop. You leave out the last few drops, because if you drink even the last drops also, what happens? At the bottom generally some kind of a stone, what you call small particles, sand particles. Sand particles would remain at the bottom. Any liquid, liquid in sugar, what you call in jaggery, some kind of a, what you call them, the sand particles may remain at the bottom of it. They go to the bottom. Therefore, never drink the last few drops of it, leave them out. Those who do not leave them last few drops, drink even those few drops also, what happens? You will go to Naraka, the shloka says that. What do you mean this? How do you understand this thing? Even if you drink the last drops of the payasam, you will go to Naraka? This is an exaggeration. It is only to warn him, only to give him extra care. It is giving a extra warning that don't drink. That's all. Don't drink the last drops and leave them out. Just to give him a extra warning, it is told that, hey, you will go to Naraka, don't do that. So, bringing Naraka for every small thing is an Arthavada in our Shastras. Because it is openly stated and discussed in Sanskrit Kavyas, in thesis, in all our Nibandhas we call them. In our discussions, you see them how much discussion were going on, went on already, centuries ago. All these points are detailed discussed. Ultimately, they say, is there any logical point in it? If there is no logical point in it, it is only an Atishayokti. It is an exaggeration. Either in condemnation or in praising it. When there is no logical reason in it, it is exaggeration. This is how they say. But it is useful. Leave it. Retain it. so that it gives them a warning to a person so that he will be careful. There are certain harsh punishment mentioned so that person will be extra careful and don't commit those mistakes. Otherwise, people think it's a small mistake, so what? People are careless. So, to make them more alert, more vigilant, more alert, more careful, certain exaggerated things are given. But in really putting a lead in their ears, nowhere you find. Nowhere you find. Do you see in our history anywhere that some Shudras ear the lead was put? Nowhere you find it. Nowhere, no reference to there in any books, in any Puranas, anywhere. In any Shila Shasanas. Nowhere it is put. Okay. And for some cases, if they do very severe mistakes, and there were some severe punishments also. See, I'll tell you one example. If a Brahmana, Manu says, even according to Manu, some punishments were severe and they were really executed. They were really executed. Severe is if a Brahmana drinks alcohol even once in his life, he has to do big punishment. He has to take a big punishment. What is the punishment? The boiling alcohol of 1 liter. Boiling. He should, not even 1 liter, even 1 or 2 or 3 liters. He should drink so boiling, hot boiling alcohol in such a way that all is this throat will be burnt and he will die. That means commit suicide by drinking a hot alcohol. And that is his punishment. What do you say? They say that only Shudra is given a severe punishment. See, they present anything as only 2 ways. Brahmanas oppressing others. They bring for everything oppression alone. This is created by Christian missionaries, Britishers, and then our people repeating them blindly. There were severe punishment to certain severe mistakes. And those such severe punishments were more for Brahmanas. He has to commit suicide by drinking alcohol. Okay? Then what do you say? Why talk about only, oh, Shudras, what you call lead was put? Anyway, Shudras live separately and they don't learn Veda mantras. Where is the question? If he consciously rebels against it and tries to do that. Okay? This was an exaggeration. Second point is, for some of the punishments, there were severe punishments, and in later Smritis, the punishments have become, for the certain real mistakes, punishments have become softer because seeing the conditions of the people are too weak people, okay, leave them. They are not capable of following such a rigorous discipline, so leave them. In our childhood, teachers would beat, okay? Nobody would take them. In fact, parents themselves would come and tell that, hey, you beat my son, and tell them, teach him a lesson because that fellow is misbehaving. They themselves would come and tell the teachers. Teachers would beat the students right in front of parents. Do you accept these days? Or you're beating, even abusing won't accept it. If you abuse them, parents will take action against a teacher. So in those days, a little kind of a punishments, little rigorous, a little severe punishments were accepted because the Shraddha was good. Respect for elderly people, respect for Shastra, respect for Dharma was much more, and they would accept it voluntarily. In fact, I would see in my childhood, in village, if the fellow does it some mistake, I have seen number of meetings. The village elderly people, heads, would call them, they say, hey, what did you do, tell? He himself was asked. He would tell what all he told. He would never say, no. These days, you see, he would deny that, no, I did not do, and you have to bring the witness. And witness has to confirm. In those days, they would ask him directly, Yenappa, come on, tell me, what did you do? He would tell everything, narrated what all he did. People were so simple. So these smritis were written in those days where people were simple. If there is a very aggressive fellow, a very, very aggressive, very arrogant fellow, very rebelling type, then such fellows were given such a severe punishments. Not to all, not as a general rule. Okay. That too, some places it was an exaggerated praise, exaggerated condemnation. They were not implemented. It was not meant for implementing. Some places in Shankara Bhashya too, in Brahma Sutra Bhashya, some punishment is given. And later Shankara says, it is not for really punishment. It is only to just give him an extra warning, extra carefulness, it is given, it's not meant for that. Some place, because ultimately Dharma Shastrakaras discuss and decide it is not really so severe punishment. It is only to give a warning so that he will be careful next time. Okay, some of the punishments were like that. Because I can't do generalization, I have to talk about many things. In the 10th and 11th chapter, all these punishments come. There we will discuss all these things. So general trend alone I will discuss. I don't discuss point by point. General trend. Point by point if you discuss, it will take many years, because weekly one class we have. Okay. So some of the punishments were not for implementation, they were only for giving a warning, so that they use a harsh, rigorous words, some of them. Second thing is, some of the punishments were severe, but they were severe for all varnas, not for Shudras and Chandalas alone. They were severe. In fact, some of the punishments were not so severe for Shudra and Chandala. They left many things for them. Okay, he's a Chandala, he doesn't leave them. It is the Shudra, anyway he's a Shudra, he doesn't leave them. If a Shudra drinks and comes and shouts, and they say it's a Shudra, they drink and do it, leave them. It is not their problem, leave them. So there are no punishment attaches to them, because in a drunken mood he says it, leave them. That's not a big thing. So certain punishments were mild for Shudras, some of the punishments are severe for Brahmanas, and they were implemented, and they were really implemented. Okay, this is the thing. And third point is, these severe punishments, it existed at one point, later time they became softened. Some of the punishments have become softened. Okay, this is the point. Then the last point is, this kind of putting the molten lead in the ear, if he listens to forcibly he wants to listen to Veda mantra and recite them. This thing, all dharma, we generally take the collective opinion of all Dharma Shastrakaras. No Dharma Shastrakara, Manu, Yajnavalkya, Apastamba, and then many others, none of them told. Only one person among the 30-40 Dharma Shastras, only one Dharma Shastrakara, Gautama, told in the Dharma Sutras. Only Gautama told, not others. Others they did not tell. Only he should not study, that's enough. And they would understand it's went on, that's all. This punishment is only Gautama told, that too it is later Vyakhyanakaras, they say that it is only an exaggeration, not for implementation. Then why make it a big issue? So this concept of Arthavada means an exaggerated, Atishayokti in praising or in condemnation. Atishayokti is not present in Bible and Quran, because they take literally whatever is there in Bible and Quran. When it comes to our Shastras, it is there in Veda, it is there in Vedanga, it is there in Upanishads, it is there in Puranas, it is there in Smriti. What? This Arthavada idea, praising, exaggerated praise or exaggerated condemnation. This principle of presentation, it is there in all our Shastras. We decide whether is it logical or not. If it is not logical, take it as an exaggeration and leave them. Nobody implements it. This is how the Dharma Shastrakaras decide. Now the Christian missionaries, they have to malign us somehow, demonize us. They take this only, they say that this is why. Now you see, I have seen, I am sorry to say, so I don't want to take their names. Respectable sannyasis also, they have been talking for centuries together, not centuries, for thousands of years they have been oppressed by putting every day in every village. This alone was happening, that they were putting molten lead in their ears. All over this has been. They say, I see some sannyasis talk like that. It is there even in their published books. They openly say, for thousands of years they have been continuously oppressed. Where does it exist? In fact, they were practicing various professions, various handicrafts and etc. They were the base of the village, and they alone were running the village. Who will implement all these things? It is they who are running the villages. And they say they were oppressed. Very strange thing to say. The harmony, the mutual relationships, they never count. The mutual intercaste relationships, the harmony, the mutual respect, and then all these things, you have to see them. Some of them in my childhood, at least a few decades ago, was present. Even now might be present. We have to watch some of the villages. If I get chance, even now I would like to travel and interview. People have to go and travel and see, interview even now. Don't depend upon these vulgar books. These books are only nothing but nonsense, nothing but demonizing books. You go and watch in the villages. If you have got some possibility, go and spend 2 or 3 days in each village and watch them and talk to them. And watch each caste, profession, and talk about their inter-caste relationship. Some of the villages have become little bit modern, little bit learned this Ambedkarist mindset, but some villages still remain with that good mindset, good old traditional understanding and relationship. Therefore, somebody asked about these things, putting molten lead in their ears if he studies Veda. Swamiji, tell about this thing. Somebody asked in my Facebook. I told to elaborately, do you remember, just summarizing at the last moment, summarizing it, it is an exaggerated praise. Okay? And that too only one Gautama told, even Apastamba who was contemporary did not say. So only on Gautama alone, they say that as it is implemented all over India by everybody, they have nothing else to do, only carrying the molten lead and catch every Shudra and put in these things here. They are presenting as if that is happening. Only one Gautama told. When all other Dharmashastra-karas did not say, his own contemporary Apastamba did not say, Vasishtha did not say, Bodhayana did not say, they set aside. They say it is an exaggeration and leave aside. So in implementing, they just leave aside. Nobody follows them. Okay. Some of the customs, okay, some of the customs, even Dharmashastra-karas, time to time, understanding the basic principle, they design new customs and new acharas also. That too, keeping in view the basic vision of the Dharmashastras. They reapply them, some of things happen. So these things are too much of exaggeration and too much of these things they study. You see our old stories, do you know that? Something like shall I tell you, some Kadambari type. Kadambari type at least 1.5 centuries ago. 1.5, 2 centuries ago, you read the old Kavyas and Kadambaris of Sanskrit, Prakrit, and in our, probably in Kannada and Telugu also, or even Hindi, old Kadambari type of books. Have you seen some stories? Like Vikramarka Charita and certain Bhetala stories. These were the stories 1.5, 2 centuries ago, or early British period. They were Kadambaris, they were novels of ancient India. You read those novels. Panchatantra, even Panchatantra is like a novels of our story. Panchatantra, Hitopadesha. You see the more Indian society there. How open society was, how the Shudras have respected, and the mistakes committed. Anybody, even Brahmana is condemned if commits mistakes. You see them, Panchatantra is even in fact, Manu Smriti, little early, 1 century earlier than Manu Smriti probably. Panchatantra is like a Kadambari. It's like a novel. It reflects the Hindu society of those days. You can see them, how the intercaste relationships were, how people were living. So if you read that old stories, old novels, you get an old Indian society structure. It was very good harmonious living. All these demonized fellows have ignored all these our kavyas. You take the Kalidasa's kavyas and later kavyas. These kavyas like novels. Kalidasa and then Bhavabhuti, like Natakas. In the Natakas you find them, the old society, how their intercaste relationships were. Okay, I think I've taken a long time. For today's general topics alone I discussed. So the topic I have not come. Anyway, in the next class we will come to the shloka and discuss. Few points somebody asked doubts. So this is they maligned it. I already told you, even Ambedkar himself told. I just repeat it, which I told in the beginning of the talk, today's talk. Manu was a sociologist and his led lawgiver, they talk them, they use in their language. We call them Dharmashastrajna. He was a lawgiver, and I don't deny his laws were very good. Compared to those days, it was the best laws. And he was a great creative thinker. I don't deny that. Ambedkar himself told, I have got a book, his own quotation. Then why did you burn Manu Smriti? They asked, the journalists, reporters asked. He told, we need somebody as a symbol Therefore, we used Manu as a symbol to express our anger against them. See, why choose Manu? And then our people think that Manu is something bad. Just now I told you 20 shlokas about Chandala. There was no drainage cleaning and etc. All that thing never there. People don't read books. They are not informed about our Shastra and our social system. It's all negative. One thing I say, one sentence and close today's talk because time is up already more than 1 hour, 1 hour 10 minutes today's talk. Rajiv Malhotra says, sociological studies, Indian social system, caste, our professions, our relationship, our family system, our intercaste relationships, king and the ruler, all these things we must study. We should write our own social studies, sociological studies. Hardly we have any. What we have very few sociological studies. All those studies are based upon European principles alone. European sociology, those who study sociology, those people alone are studying. Other than them are all Christian missionaries, Indologists, Europeans alone studied. But we should study our own studies from our standpoint. Indigenous Indian system, our social system, we have to study. There are no studies at all. Rajiv Malhotra says there is no single book which studies Indian society from Indian principles, from Indian angle. There is no single book. Even now, 21st century, what a surprising it is. We are all brainwashed to think against Hindus, Hindu society. We are all brainwashed to think against Hindu society. Terrible. So we have to do that thing. Then you will come, all this will come out, how they present negatively. And we are all carried away by them because that is the only literature everywhere spread it. And modern media is terrible. And Ambedkarists are nothing but Christian missionaries only. They are only converted and then only nominally Ambedkarists, they are passing in a disguise. They are all missionaries only. Therefore they hate. So therefore Ambedkarism has become nothing but hatredism. It is nothing but hateism. There is nothing in it except hatred. Hatred and malign and then become just like antisocial elements. They are becoming a terrorist alone. It is nothing but hatred and terrorism. Like jihad. It has become jihadism alone. Hatred and terrorism. Because I read number of books. I have got plenty of books here. Later I can show you if you want the books, page number, reference, everything I can show you later. But just I am talking in general now. So when people have a good profession, paying profession, and if we kept a distance, you see during Corona, there was a social distance. Did we feel bad that people did not touch us? If you keep a distance, so what? You have got a good profession and respected, money and everything, good profession, paying profession, and you are respected, treated like a human being. They are not kafirs and all that. Kafir system is different. They are demonizing that untouchability means kafirism. Kafir is different from untouchable people. Untouchable only social distance, that's all. But all other things, he just follows like us, lives like us. They discuss, they come and sit in the meetings and discuss with us. Even untouchables come and follow the meetings. They discuss economic issues, village issues, everything they discuss. Only just a social distancing. They made it a big issue about it. They demonized it. Oh my God, what a big things. Okay. Om Shanti. Today's is enough. So it is a little deviation. Deviation means somebody raised a question, so I had to answer. And we will continue with our topic. If there are some questions like that, I will discuss that and then continue the topic. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat.